proponent. And that's the expose of Toby Chanco. Yan yung pinakita niya na si Zaldico ang may pinakamaraming proponent for the unprogrammed funds. So sa panahon ni, let's be clear about this. Sa panahon ni Tatay Digong, although the Discayas received the highest number of contracts from the government, but at the very least, nasa program funds ang project. Kaya easy to identify, easy to check whether or not there are ghost flood control projects. Sa panahon ni Bongbong Marcos, 141 billion ang budget for the flood control projects na kinuha sa unprogrammed funds. So sino ang proponent sa ilang billion na si Zaldico? Kaya ang yaman-yaman ni Zaldico. So yung mga galit kay VP Sara ngayon, at hindi galit kay Martin Romualdez at kay Zaldico, mga potang ina ninyong lahat. So, yun lang. So, yan yung intindihin ninyo sa panahon ni Tatay Digong, because we cannot leave the Philippines without any infrastructure projects as long as justified naman. Although, billions of money is allotted to the flood control project of Tatay Digong, but as I mentioned earlier, at the very least, galing siya sa program funds, galing siya sa GAA, sa General Appropriations Act, na kung saan signed by Cabinet Committee, and hindi siya illegal, hindi siya unconstitutional. Ngayon, mas maraming budget sa program funds, kaya maraming proponents. Kaya ngayon, ang target ay na-expose yung mga kongresista, because accordingly, may kumukuha sila ng percentage, mga kickbacks nila for the project. At ito pa, sa panahon ni Tatay Digong, ang sinasabi is, although hindi naman daw talaga hindi daw talaga new yung mga kickbacks from contractors and everything, it happened daw. But hindi mas malala ngayon, kasi ngayon, umaabot daw up until 40 to 60% ang kinukuhang kickback. And that is 40% na lang for the project. Diba? So, kaya substandard. And ito pa, speaking of kickback, during the panahon of Tatay Digong, walang tinatawag na 3 strikes policy ang DPWH. Hindi sila stricto at that time. Pero sa panahon ni BBM, 3 strikes policy ang ginagawa sa mga contractors, na kung saan, kung 3 beses ka na daw, na reject, automatically, you are blacklisted from getting government contracts, all those things sa DPWH. So ngayon, in-implement yan ng Marcos administration ang 3 strikes policy so that they can pressure the contractors to give more. Kasi for example, I'm a contractor, tapos 2 beses na ako na-reject, meaning I only have 1 chance to continue with my business, di ba? So as a contractor, I have to give more. I have to give more kickbacks, I have to, under the table na mga pera for me to continue, para hindi ako third strike, according to the DPWH 3 strikes policy. And it did not happen during Tatay Digong's time. It happened during Bongbong's time. And the difference, again, as I mentioned, sa panahon ni Tatay Digong, coming siya from program funds. Sa panahon ni Bongbong, unprogram funds. Kaya sino-sino lang yung mga proponents ng mga projects and programs na in-implement nila. And wala nangyari. Ghost projects and ghost, like flood control projects and infrastructure projects, wala na. So yan yung difference. So guys, if you are reading mainstream media ngayon, we rarely see news explaining about these things. Yung coverage ng mga news normally ay yung mga news na, maligning the reputation of the Duterte family, linking them to the issues and problems that are not, done by them. So, yan yung goal nila, to eliminate the Dutertes. And si VP Sara kasi yun ang may pinaka-strategic na position. Because just in case lang talaga, the president is incapable of leading na, like for example, namatay na siya, or pinatay na siya, or nagkasakit siya, and hindi niya na kaya mag-lead. So it would be, by constitution, line of succession, it would be the vice president who will assume office. Kaya ngayon, kung nakikita nyo, yung kabilang kampo naman sa political spectrum, like nakakampings, yung mga Bakabayan bloc, they are pressuring and they are persecuting VP Sara, because even if they are successful in removing Bongbong Marcos in his office, it would be VP Sara who can benefit from it. So ang ginagawa nila, inuuna nila tinarget si VP Sara, di ba? Impeachment out of 125 million, for sure sa inyo dito, yung mga pera ninyo, umabot pa sa mga 125 million, di ba? Andyan lang ang kukorakutin ng ng Office of the Vice President. So wala silang COA for 3 consecutive years, unmodified opinion ang binigay ng COA sa Department of Education and Office of the Vice President. What that means? Meaning, may proper accounting. Walang tinago, walang kinurap. And they are denying that audit report from COA because wala na silang makita ibang panlaban for VP Sara. So kaya lahat ginagawa nila. And now, their next plan actually is to put Remulla in the Office of the Ombudsman. The role of the Office of the Ombudsman is to investigate public officials, right? So pag nakapasok si Remulla sa Office of the Ombudsman, the next step is to file multiple cases of against VP Sara so that and they will find her guilty of the cases they filed against her para ma-block yung presidency niya in 2028. So by 2026, it's the start of election campaign na. So makikita na natin na maggrupo-grupo na yan sila, di ba ngayon may namumuo ng mayors for good governance, di ba? They are starting to form alliances na because by 2026, that is the start of the election campaign. Although technically, 2028 pa talaga siya ang campaign period, but as first if you strategize, start ka na by 2026. So kaya ginadalian nila. So nasunog yung impeachment case ni Sara, wala silang nagawa, it's archived, it's considered as dead. But ngayon, pinasok na naman nila si Tito Soto as Senate President because they are doing their best to revive the impeachment case. So imagine, kakatapos lang ng election, our lawmakers are supposed to, legislate, to craft laws that could help better the progress, the development of the country. But what they are doing now, they are more focused on eliminating VP Sara in the equation. Because pag si VP Sara na naging president, there will be a reset in the Philippines. Lahat.
Resign! Marcos resign! Marcos resign! Bring him home! Bring Duterte now! Bring him!
As a storyteller, so yun na yun. So once makapasok si Remulla, especially na that he is already shortlisted sa ombudsman, pag makapasok yan siya, pag siya magiging ombudsman, expect for more cases to be filed against VP Sara. Lahat ng case na pwede niya ma-file against VP Sara, gagawin niya yan. And expect a conviction. And expect a conviction. So yun lang. Tapos ito din, mag-ingat din tayo sa mga nagpapanggap lang ng mga supporters or yung mga politicians na nagpapanggap ng pro-good governance. Because may mga baho din yan sila, okay? Kung nakikita ninyo ngayon, I know iba-iba tayo ng paniniwala dito, pero allow me to express my assessment na lang din sa political landscape ngayon. Ang nakikita ko kasi, Ping Lacson and Tagalog are parroting the same narratives. They are exposing the scheme of corruption happening in the Marcos administration, but they can't mention names.
Yeah.
Diba? It took a Visaya, it took a woman to tell the Filipino people that the budget of the Philippines is being controlled by only two people, Martin Romualdez and Zaldico. When VP Sara exposed that fact, anong ginawa sa kanya? Yukarit daw siya. Sira ulo, diba? Princess Fiona. She was getting all the any form of demolition job that her detractors can think of. But now all fingers are pointing to Zaldico and Martin Romualdez. Because what VP Sara was telling us in 2023 are actually true. Say for example, for the DepEd, okay, kasi sa DepEd, for sure may mga anak kayo sa Pilipinas na nasa high school pa siguro. Sa DepEd, sa Department of Education, gumawa si VP Sara ng report through ng Matatag Agenda. Yung Matatag Agenda, there is a track or a portion there that created a certain office assigned only or tasked only for classroom construction. And at that time, that office requested only for 5 billion budget for classroom repair and construction. Magkano? Yun lang ang ni-request ng DepEd. Kasi nga, di ba, before you make your request, di ba, you do the accounting first na ganito yung budget, ganito yung ganyan. So, ang ginawa, 5 billion lang. Pero, nung umabot na sa General Appropriations Act, that 5 billion became 20 billion. They inserted 15 billion. And who masterminded the insertion? Martin Romualdez and Saldico as head of the Appropriations Committee.
Hindi pa inubos lahat.
Diba? And at that time, VP Sara reacted. She said, okay, I'm not going with you guys with this scheme of corruption. Hands off. The Office of the Vice President, hands off DepEd. Ang ginawa, demolition siya. Nag-file ng impeachment. Series of hearings, series of Quadcom hearings for the 125 million confidential fund.
Quadcom.
So nakikita ninyo, ang pattern nila is this. If you speak against the government, they will demolish you, your family, and your character. And this is exact thing they did to former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, who said that the most rotten institution in the Philippines is the House of Representatives. It was FPRRD during this gikan sa masa para sa masa TV segment sa SMNI. So ang ginawa nila, because SMNI is giving Tatay Digong the platform to air his sentiments about the government, diba? Tinanggal nila sa equation ang SMNI. Ni-revoke nila ang license ng SMNI. Now, because the Matanda continues to expose the Bongbong Marcos administration, the Maisog rally was created. The Maisog group was created. And during one of the first ever Maisog rally, it was Tatay Digong who exposed the drug use of Bongbong Marcos. Now, because Bongbong Marcos is already excused, they now allowed the ICC to investigate in the Philippines. And now they are very successful because as early as January, may mga ICC investigators na mananapin sa country. Pero ano ang sinabi ni Bongbong Marcos in 2023 in a letter dated December of 2023? He will not allow the ICC to enter the country. He will not have the ICC in any way, shape, and form. What happened now? Nakakulong ang Matanda. Diba?
Ikulong niya na lahat.
Diba? Nakakulong ang Matanda. Because everyone who speaks up against the government, they are going to demolish or to malign the reputation and the character of that person. So yan yung nangyayari sa Pilipinas ngayon. Now, another example, Cheese Escudero. Cheese Escudero is a lawyer. He knows the constitutional bounds and the constitutional infirmity of the impeachment case filed against VP Sara. Diba? Yan yung 1-year bar rule. Alam yan, even a first-year law student knows na 1-year bar rule should be followed in terms of the impeachment case. So, but because Cheese Escudero did not continue with the impeachment trial, ano ang ginawa sa kanya ngayon? They linked him sa mga contractors, and ngayon, they are trying their best to freeze the asset of Cheese Escudero. Because nga again, unsuccessful yung impeachment case. The other one, Marcoleta, yung sumbong sa Pangulo program of Bongbong Marcos, it's just a PR stunt. It's more of like saving himself that he is doing something with the corruption happening in the Philippines. But the goal really is to link everything or to connect everything to the Duterte family. Kaya nagalit sila na instead of discussing issues from 2016 to 2022, ang ginagawa kasi ni Marcoleta, he is holding accountable those people who are engaged in the scheme of corruption of the DPWH from 2022 to 2025. So, they remove Marcoleta as the chairperson of the Blue Ribbon Committee. And sino ang pumalit? Si Ping Lacson. In one of his speeches, Ping Lacson mentioned that he has the name of the 67 lawmakers who are involved in the flood control projects or the so-called contractors. But up until now, wala man yung isang pangalan na lumabas sa bibig ni Ping Lacson. Now, who is he protecting?
Correct.
Is it the interest of the Filipino people or is it the interest of 7? Now na si Diskaya, I'm not pro Diskaya, I'm not defending Diskaya. But now that Diskaya spoke up and they mentioned the names of those lawmakers, sila na naman ang kalaban. Sila na naman ang sila na naman ang under demolition job of this administration. So sa nakikita ninyo ngayon, the pattern is very undeniable. Demolition job after one demolition job after one demolition job, up until you surrender, up until you join them with their scheme of corruption sa country natin. So mga kababayan ko, wag po tayong magbulag-bulagan, wag po tayong magbingi-bingihan, because at the end of the day, it would be the next generation who would suffer. If we will not do something today, because we are still capable and we are still able in holding those who are in power now accountable of the things that they are doing, especially with the taxpayers' money, then we should do it. And this is exactly the reason why Paolo and I are here. We want you guys to learn and to understand what is currently happening in the Philippines. We know that you guys are very busy with your jobs. Diba? Every day, some of you here only has maybe one day off in a week, right? Or maybe two days off in a week. But ito yun, kami nakatutok kasi kami sa political landscape ng Pilipinas, and we see and experience firsthand those things that are currently happening in the country. Do not be deceived, do not be fooled, and always look at the things fairly and rationally. Because at the end of the day, again, let me remind you, the Marcos family or the Marcoses are not angry at the Dutertes. The Dutertes are only the scapegoats because they have the following. They are very influential in the country. The Marcoses are actually angry at the Filipino people, ordinary Filipino people, because they kicked their family out in the government office in 1986 during the People Power Revolution. And for 30 years, they weren't able to, regain the power they've lost. And now that Bongo Marcos is the president, he is doing everything to reclaim the power, the influence that were robbed from them by the Filipino people. We were able to kick them out in the People Power Revolution 1, and possibly, if God permits, we can kick them out this year too.
Marcos resign!
Marcos resign!
Marcos resign! Marcos resign! Marcos resign! Marcos resign!
Yun na. So sa mga nagsasabi dyan na hindi kami nagsishout ang Marcos resign here, that's actually the goal. To let him resign and at the same time to kick him out of office, because he's not doing anything good for the country. He does more harm than good, right? Because
It's the
if
virus.
he's still rational about what he's doing in the country, then he would realize that corruption is very rampant, and the perpetrators of the corruption are actually the people whom he gave the positions with. For example, Speaker Martin Romualdez, Saldico, and his friends actually. So yan yung intindihin niyo. So, grabe no? Ilang minutes na ba? Charot.
It's
I
okay.
need 4 hours. Anyway, yeah, I'd like to say thank you for all your for the support, for everyone who prepared for Ate Marvic for the food, Rizal for the lecture, to the Ate Janet for the Marilu, Ate Marilu, Ate Marilu, everyone that ano tawag dito? The volunteers and all of you guys. I know na you spend your money for the flight, di ba? You took your day off just to be here, just to share prayers time with your fellow kababayans. And hindi tayo titigil hangga't hindi makakalabas si Tatay Digo. And we will do everything so he can be free from the trumped-up charges and political persecution that he is facing from the real including the sovereignty of the Philippines, that we will not allow foreign entity to go to the country, investigate, and detain someone. Thank you so much, and mabuhay! Dalago ng Diyos, laban na para sa bayan.